Hello everyone. So in this video we are covering the broad topics of how to manage chart of account value sets, manage chart of account structure, manage chart of account structure instance, and manage chart of account value set values. So with regard to each and every topic, we'll see how to implement all these setups that is required, with regard to our chart of accounts. My agenda for this video will be broadly this. I need the following value sets to be created. One is the company, cost center, location, natural account, and future. So these are my value sets, and as against each of value set, company, cost center, location, natural account, and future. So these are the values. So with regard to the value set company, my values are 11 and 12 as against the description NV Services Limited and NV Chemicals Limited. Similarly, with regard to the value set cost center, my values are 111, 112, 113, 114 and a common value which is default. And these are the description. Finance, marketing, HR are the descriptions. Similarly, I have for location and also I have for natural account. So these are the natural account values and these are descriptions of natural accounts which I want to have it. And future, since it's a future segment, I've had only a common value. So let me get into the application and show you how to create the value sets, structure, structure instance, and values to the value sets. So moving to the application. So I've given my user ID and then the password. So this is the landing dashboard. So I'm getting into the setup and maintenance. So let me change the setup area to financials. So the functional areas I need to select is the financial reporting structure. So you can see the required tasks with regard to our chart of accounts that needs to be created. So the following tasks are mandatory, which is manage chart of account value sets, structure instance, and value set values. So here I'll be discussing these four task lists. So let me begin with manage chart of accounts value sets. So as per the Excel I had, I need to create the company, cost center, location, natural account, and future segments. So let me create one by one. So I create NV underscore company as my value set. So description also the same thing. So the module will be general ledger. So validation type independent. Value data type as a character so that I can use alpha or alphanumeric or also numeric as well. So if you want segment security to be enabled, you can enable the security. So which we'll discuss in the security rules. So value subtype will be the text. So you can define, what is the maximum length that you can assign to this value set values. So since it's a company, I'm okay with maximum length of 2. You can have 3 to 4 if need be. So if you want to have uppercase only, if it is alpha, and if you want to have all the values to be populated as in capital letters, so you can use uppercase only. Also, to satisfy your the length, if you want to have in case of a numeric format. Okay, so if it is not suiting the length of the value set, so zero fill can be enabled so that zero will be automatically prefixed to the value in front of it. So typically for numbers, this might be useful. So as per Oracle, the best practice is to enable uppercase only and zero fill. So I've created NV company, okay, where I have selected the validation type independent and the value data type character and subtype as text, and also I have given the maximum length. So similarly, I'll create value sets for each and every segment. So for cost center, I can have, I want to have a length of 3. So I'm giving a maximum length of 3. So I've created similarly for the natural account. So maybe the maximum length I will select as 5 for natural account. So save and close. So similarly, I've done for location and future segments also. So if I just try to query with value set code beginning with NV, you could see what are the value sets that we have created. If you see here, we have done with the NV company, NV cost center, future, location, natural account. So NV company, I had a length of 2. Cost center, future, location, I had a length of 3. Whereas natural account, I had a length of 5. For all the value sets, the validation type is independent and character. Preferably whenever you're using general ledger module, ideally go for validation type either independent or table view. So we are done with our first task, which is manage chart of accounts value sets. Now let's proceed with manage chart of account structure. So I'm getting into the next task, which is manage chart of accounts structure. So when you get into the task, just try to give a blank search. So and then try to go to the manage structures. So let us quickly create the structures. So I'll give nv underscore COA structure as name. So I'm just copying the same thing in the name and description as well. So delimiter, what is that you want to separate segments. So I'm using the hyphen here. So let me save this. So what are the segments that I need to have in structure? As I've already shown you. So my structure needs to follow this order, which is company, cost center, location, natural account, and future. So let me define the segments accordingly. So let me have it as a company, begin with. So AP name will automatically populate, so I'm not bothered. So sequence number, company is my sequence 1. So I want it need to be prompted as company. So short prompt typically for in the general ledger report, I mean the account monitor dashboard where you'll be seeing short prompt typically. I want it as CO. So display width. Since my length of the value set is 2, so let me have the display width of 2 here. So column name be segment 1. Okay. So next default value set code. What is the default value set code I want to populate? Just now in the first step we have created our value sets. So I'll attach for the segment NV company value set. So as we understand that two segment labels are mandatory in any structure. So since this is a company, it's more a primary balancing segment. Let me assign a segment label primary balancing segment to this. Okay, similarly let me do for other segments. So I want the cost center as a second sequence. I'm okay to have the same name and same description. My sequence number is 2 here. Prompt is okay if it prompts me cost center. So short prompt I will give CC. Display width again I can have it 3. Okay, let 3 values be displayed whenever user is entering the data. So what is the display width that needs to be displayed? Okay, so this is segment 2. Default value set code is nv underscore cost center. So I'm assigning the cost center to this. So when it comes to the segment label, I can assign the cost center segment label to this 7 close. So similarly, let me proceed with the remaining things, which is location, natural account, and future. Sequence number, it's 3. So short prompt is location, short prompt is LOC, let's say. Display width against 3. Column name is segment 3. Default value set code is nv underscore location. So typically we are assigning the value sets to this segment. That's default. Again, if you want to override, you can override in the chart of account structure instance if need be. So I don't need to assign any segment label here because each and every segment for each and every segment label is not mandatory. But however, any structure, if you're going with fixed assets and expense module, make sure that you assign primary balancing segment label, cost center, and natural account. So this sequence is 4 for me. So that's the short form BACC. So since this length is 5 when it comes to the value set values, so I'm expanding my display width to 5 so that I can clearly see my values. So column name is segment 4. So let me assign the natural account to this. And then for natural account, I need to assign a segment label called natural account segment. So I'm assigning this. Okay, sorry, sequence number is 4 here. So last one is future 1. So segment code be future 1. Some instances may not allow the future as such, so I'm just taking the future one as it. So sequence number 5. Okay, prompt be future. Okay, short prompt can be FUD. Display width is 3. So this is a segment 5 for me. So value set code is NV future. Segment label is not required, so we are just ignoring it. So save and close. Okay, so ideally I have created a structure. So where I have said company is segment 1, cost center is segment 2, location is segment 3, natural account segment 4, and future is segment 5. So and also I have assigned the segment labels with regard to the company, primary balancing segment layer, cost center label, and natural account label. So I'm just saving and closing this. Done. As a next step, we are getting into the manage chart of account structure instances. So let me create a structure instance here. So structure instance is what ultimately you attach it to your ledger. So in which chart of account structure instance, so I'm enabling structure instance, and also I want it to be dynamic combinations to be generated. So I'm enabling the dynamic combination creation allowed. So the structure name, so what is the structure I need to attach is the one which I've created just now, which is NVCOA structure. So I'm attaching NVCOA structure here. The moment I enable the NVCOA structure, so I could see all the value set codes that has been assigned. Okay, if I want to override any value set at the instance level, I can override this. I do have an option to override. So for me, everything should be mandatory. Okay, so if you want, you can enable manually, or else if you give save, so automatically all this will be enabled as required automatically. Okay, also if you want any values to be defaulted in your transaction level, okay, you can give a constant. Okay, and then type what is the default value that you require. So ideally, once you complete your value set values, maybe use this functionality. Okay, so for me, all this is mandatory, all it's required whenever user is processing any transaction. So I'm saving and closing. So we're done with value sets, structure, and structure instance. Once you are done with the structure instance, make sure that you deploy the flex fields. This is mandatory. Only once you deploy the flex fields, okay, it is, we can say that it's active. So once this is processed, you'll be getting a confirmation, and then you can just press OK. So now you can see the deployment status is in tick symbol in a green icon, which means that you can able to use your chart of account structure instance for your ledger. So in meanwhile, we should also create the values as against each of our value sets. So let's try to create the values. So I'm just giving done here. So we are done with chart of account value sets, chart of account structures. So we are also done with chart of account structure instance. So let's proceed ahead with regard to chart of account value set values. So let me query my chart of account value sets that we have created. So I'm querying with NV. So these are the value sets which we have created. So let me quickly create the values here. So I need to go to the manage values. So let me create the company. So values is 11. So which is NV Services Limited. So I want this to be enabled. I don't want this to be used for a specific range of date. So I'm not enabling the start date and end date. So the summary no means it is a child value. Summary yes if it is a parent. Okay, where you don't want the postings to be done, you can enable summary yes. The child values needs to be posted also to be used in the transactions, so you can enable allow posting yes. If you want the same things to be allowed for the budget, you can allow the budgeting yes. Okay, so let me create one more company value as well. So then let's set to work. I want let's say NV Chemicals Limited. So even this needs to be child value, so I'm having summary no, and allow posting yes. So similarly, let's say I want to create parent, let's say NV Group, which is a group of NV Chemicals Limited and NV Services Company Limited. Okay. So let's say my parent value is 10. So the description is NV Group. So once done, so for NV Group, since it's a parent of NV Chemicals and NV Service Limited, we need to allow summary as and allow posting no. So if you want to have the budgeting at a parent level, you can say yes. Also, if you don't want to say, if you don't want the budget at parent level, you can say no and save and close. So let us do for the natural accounts. So you can do similarly for cost center, future and location, just like company. Whereas natural account is little different because in the chart of account structure, you assign for the natural account, NV natural account value set as a with a segment label natural account. So basically, if you see here, when it comes to the other value sets, whenever you are creating a values, you'll be seeing only the start date, end date, sort order, summary, allow posting, and allow budgeting. Whereas for the sets of natural accounts, you could able to see the account type, third party control account, reconcile, and also financial category. So let us create few values here. So 1111 is a furniture, which is a fixed asset for me. So let's say I want this account. So what is the account type? You need to classify the account types, either assets, revenue, liability, expense, or the owner's equity. If you have third party control accounts and reconciliation enabled, so you can enable. Okay, if you want a subledger to GL reconciliation, you can also assign the financial category accordingly. So that's with regard to the manage chart of account value set values. So similarly, you can do for others as well. You can create n number of values as against this value set as against liability, equity, revenue, and expenses as well. So once you're done, you can just give save. Okay. So once you save, the values shall be grayed out and you can't modify these values. If you want, you can modify the description but not the values. Thank you everyone. Good day.